So here we have the first game of the third and final round of Swiss, again taken at the Worcester Manaleak tournament held in January 2014. Myself on the left playing Jinteki Personal Evolution, and Ryan on the right playing Kate in Shaper. This was the decider, effectively. Unfortunately, we only had a small turnout for the January tournament of 6. And so as a result, 3 rounds of Swiss was the limit of what we could actually accomplish without, and again, we obviously couldn't do a top 4, other than we could potentially have done 4 rounds of Swiss and everyone played everyone, but we settled on 3 at the end of the day. So this was the deciding game. Everyone had dropped more than 1 game, other than myself and Ryan. And so this was to decide who comes out with the glory and the prizes. But again, for those of you listening and those of you within travelling distance of Worcester, please do come along next time. We'd love to see you. It'd be great to get more people out to the tournaments. Usually they're very well attended, and usually we get double figures. But again, it'd be great to see some more regular faces at the tournament. So hopefully we'll see you in February. It's the second week of each second Saturday, sorry, of each month. So do come along. Anyway, for the corporation, it was installing ice, take a credit and install. For Ryan, it was first click self-modifying code, second click diesel, third click he is going to run or karate chop one of them. Yeah, run HQ. So quite a strong start for Shaper, undeniably being able to scoring the unorthodox prediction. It's his first pull, so already up against it, it has to be said. I'm not particularly keen on that. Last click he takes a credit, so a mandatory draw. I'm going to res and use Jackson Howard to draw 2. I'm going to use him again to draw 2. And I'm going to play Hedge Fund. Final click. I think I'm going to have to get rid of some cards there. At the end of my turn, he's going to use self-modifying code, pull out a program and use the discount for Kate to pull out a magnum opus. So he loves his magnum opus economy, and certainly it's difficult to argue a turn 2 magnum opus, certainly, or turn 1 effectively. Unfortunately, he has one of those pesky 20-sided die that make it impossible to see how much money he's actually on from the camera perspective, so I can't tell you quite what he's on economically. Probably not too bad now that he's on a magnum opus level. So he plays a diesel, second click. I think first click again he used for money. He's going to run R&D, third click. At which point I res the Hamachibaku. So end the run for 2 credits. Final click. Again, I was quite happy there, really, that he pulled the magnum opus rather than pulling out a corroder, to be truthful. Public sympathy, so a flatline victory is looking unlikely, but then this deck isn't looking to do flatline victories. It's looking purely and simply to fast advance the necessary agendas and rush out the win. And speaking of which, I'm going to play advance and score a clone retirement and do a net damage. More than anything else, with an undefended HQ, the last thing you want them to do is steal a clone retirement. You know, the fact that they then gain a bad publicity in conjunction with stealing an agenda point is a double whammy of immense pain and horribleness. So he's going to test run out a corroder. I think he clicked for some money there with magnum opus as well. He's got a very nice rhythmic shuffle going on there. Very envious. My shuffling is below par, I would suggest. He's going to run archives there, at which point I use Jackson Howard. I think, again, unfortunately I had a situation where I was definitely agenda flooded in HQ, so I shuffled it back in those 2 cards there, as well as the hedge fund. Again, Jackson Howard has proved to be such an amazing leveler for the corporation. Such an important card now, effectively an extra resource. Just like clicks and credits, we now have Jackson Howards. And pass the turn over to me. We're going to ice up HQ. Again, apologies for there being things off camera. That's I'm going to endeavour to do my best there. So sorry, I've switched that over from HQ to a remote. I'm going to draw, second click, and third click hedge fund. Which I had enough money for there, so taking me up to 10 credits. He's going to diesel first click, obviously drawing up his Corroder as well as 2 other cards. And he's going to install the Corroder, second click. So R&D looking vulnerable now, it has to be said. Third click is going to take money with Magnum Opus. And last click do the same. Pass the turn over, mandatory draw. So I think I've installed into remote there, I believe another Jackson Howard, which I res and use to draw 2. Second click. And final click, restructure. Oh, gotta love pulling that at a time when you can afford it, which I have to say with Jinteki is fairly common these days. And I've got to discard a card. HQ still wide open. Data Sucker comes down, so suddenly he's going to draw for second click. Third click is going to run HQ, so he's getting a lot of value now out of these additional runs. Still only has the Corroder Breaker out, so not the end of the world. He runs into HQ and sees nothing. But again, it doesn't matter too much if you're getting the value out of your Data Sucker tokens. So presumably we can expect to see maybe a Yogg or a Mimic to try and take advantage of those Data Suckers. Maybe Atman's. Obviously Atman's very strong with Data Suckers. He's going to click for money with Magnum Opus and pass the turn over to me. Magnum Opus providing him with, again, a nice solid economic engine there. I'm going to install into the remote and advance twice. So it's a difficult situation as always. A double advanced cards and Jinteki, a struggle. He's going to run there, first click, and see what's cooking. He sees a Chimera, which I believe I put in as a code gate. He doesn't have any recursion yet at the moment, which is exactly what I was hoping to see, unless he has test runs in hand. He's going to run HQ, second click. And sees a snare. Oh, he's beautiful to see. I'm just working out whether I want to trigger it, which I do. So I do 3 net damage. And get rid of a fair bit of his economy there, so I get rid of a Scavenge, E3 feedback, and a Sure Gamble. So that restructure certainly did its work. He draws back up again. I score the Fetal AI. Not really what you want to score on the table, it has to be said. But I just, to be truthful with Jinteki, it's just a case of getting points on the board as quickly as you possibly can. It gets progressively harder as the game goes on, and the ice becomes less relevant. And the more points you can score earlier on, the stronger off you are. So again, he's going to run R&D and see nothing. It only costs him 1 to get through, and he gets a Data Sucker token at the end of it, so he gets his value certainly out of it. There's no reason why he wouldn't check R&D now every turn, at least until I get to the point where I can solidify R&D suitably. So I'm on 3 or 4 credits there. I think I'm going to take up to 5, and then hedge fund. So I believe it was first 2 clicks, credit, and last click was a hedge fund. Oh no, sorry. First click, take a credit. Second click was hedge fund. Third click was another ice on R&D. He's going to run HQ. First click. Sees nothing. I think he sees the Trick of Light there in hand. So he should know probably what to expect now at this stage. He's having a look to see what's in his heap. Again, he hasn't got any recursion out yet at the moment. He's gone through all his diesels. Hasn't seen any, and again, the cards he needs to get the tempo tutors, the self-modifying codes, or the test runs. It's a challenge. So he's drawing up. He's going hunting. I think he has got a test run in hand there, so he can go and find what he needs. And with Data Sucker tokens, obviously he has a huge advantage here. So, and last click he's considering running, which he's going to do. So last click he runs. And I res the Archer, getting rid of my 1-point agenda, and he's got nothing to break it with, so I get to 2 credits back and choose the 2 programs to trash. I'm obviously going to trash the Magnum Opus there. He's low on money already, and it's the question now: do I trash the Corroder or do I trash the Data Sucker? I figure that he can almost certainly bring the Corroder back quickly and cheaply, but the Data Sucker tokens are more of the investment, so I get rid of the data sucker. I still think it's probably the right call. Again, he can't get through R&D anyway with the archer there until he finds the right kind of barrier, right kind of sentry breaker, and the chances of him finding the right kind of sentry breaker without the data sucker is that much greater. So I think it was the right call. It's always a difficult one though. So I'm going to ice up HQ, try and prevent him from getting easy accesses and easy data suckers if he gets to reinstall there. And it looks like I've got a snare in hand as well as an agenda or two. I've definitely got a trick of light. First click is going to, sorry, he's going to click for 2 credits, sure gamble, last click Gordon Blade. So again, he's got the code gate breaker out he needs. It's just the sentry breaker, and it's the archer that's keeping him out. But I've had to give up an agenda point, which isn't an easy thing to do with Jinteki. So I'm going to install into the remote. I've certainly got an opportunity here to do good work while he's catching back up from having his rig demolished. I'm going to advance twice. So presumably that's, well, I know, that is my ice wall. And he's seen the trick of lights in hand already. He should know what's coming. So he's going to draw first click. No magnum opus now to keep his economy ticking over, so he's going to have to find another solution. He's having to click for 1 credit twice there before playing an Atman in its 6 strength to combat the archer. And certainly not ideal. An incredibly expensive Atman, not what you want to have to do. And I'm going to triple advance and score a profiteering, which I take for maximum income. So 15 credits, giving him 3 bad publicity. Which is probably in retrospect was a mistake. It means that he can get through that archer for pretty much nothing now, whereas it would have been costing him 3 credits each time. But I did need the money. There's no denying it. I needed the cash there at that point. I was running low on economy and I wanted to continue to score and advance agendas where I could. So he's clicking for money. It still costs him a fair bit to get through at the end of the day, but not as much as it would have. Certainly without the bad publicity, it costs him a credit effectively. He lets me have the 2 credits each time, so he's not breaking that one, but he is breaking the other 3, the end of the run, as well, then obviously breaking the Baku as well. Sees nothing on R&D, puts the data sucker down, which obviously he meant to have done first rather than second. But he's got, again, pretty much a full breaker suite out here. Nothing now I can touch. But sentries are still very much in play, and I do have roto turrets in the deck. I do have, obviously, Netrunner. So sentries still what I want to try and find, really. He's certainly in his full memory allowance now. So Celebrity Gift showing him 4, I think that might be 4 cards. Maybe 5. I don't think I have any agendas in hand. I've definitely got a snare there, as well as a trick of light, just off frame unfortunately. I can't quite tell you exactly what I've got. Either way, enough to discourage him, and I'm certainly not short on cash anymore. I think it was more just a case of I didn't have anything better to do at that point other than build up as much income as I humanly could, which is just a stupid amount of money, as you can see. And I think I've got a Jackson there which I'm using to draw up to 2 and discard 1. Discard 2, sorry. It's going to run archives, first click, at which point I use Jackson Howard. I think I just had 1 agenda in there. I think it was either a feat or something else. I also believe I discarded the snare to put it back in R&D. So I'll show him the rest of the cards. I've discarded the Swordsman, still hedge fund in there. At this point I probably wish I'd kept the Swordsman. Would have been lovely against the Atman. It's one of those one-off cards that should be in most Jinteki decks. And it can do incredibly good work if the runner's not careful. So he has to click for money. Run R&D again, 3rd click. So it's costing him pretty much a whole turn to look at 1 card in R&D at the moment. He doesn't see what he needs. So, you know, at the end of the day, Archer is doing its work. He's taking a credit there. he's just not seeing the economy cards he needs at the moment, and I don't think he feels like he can afford to wait and draw up into them. A lot of them obviously have been discarded already in terms of his burst economy. So first click installing into the remote, installing an upgrade into the remote, and sorry, I'm not quite sure. I think I might have taken one back there. So sorry, I think I've just got one card in there at the moment. I'm debating whether or not to. Yeah, I think I stick to it. So yeah, no, I install advance once. I'm pretty sure that's a fetal AI, and I'm looking to fast advance it with the Sansan that's also in there. And I was just working out if I had the maths right. I've got a trick of light in hand. I must have a trick of light and a Sansan. So it installs the fairy, discarding the data sucker. And again, with the admin at 6, that's certainly not the worst thing in the world. So I'm in a very strong economic position here, whereas Ryan's in a very weak economic position, but obviously has all the breakers he needs. If you can get the economic engine behind the breakers, I'm in big trouble. Because I'm still only on 3 points, certainly not enough to see out the game. At this stage of the match, I like to be on 4 at least. So he's going to run Chimera, which has probably been one of my MVPs, it has to be said. One of the MVPs of the deck. I put it in at, I think, a code gate. In retrospect, I should have put it in as a sentry, make him use up his fairy. We live and learn. Again, it's the small things that make a big difference, it has to be said. So he runs in and scores the agenda, which is a fetal AI. So it costs him 2, and obviously he takes 3 net damage. And then he obviously accesses the additional card, which is a Sansan, which he doesn't have the money to trash. Sorry, anyway, which is fine. And again, it's one of the reasons I wasn't too bothered about giving up the fetal. If he could get through, which I figured he might be able to, it wasn't that much of an issue. The important thing was that he couldn't steal the agenda and the Sansan. So I res the Sansan for 6 and install. Sorry, install advance the unorthodox predictions, making I think probably sentry breakers unbreakable there. And destroying the 1 remaining card in hand. Oh, for neural EMPs in this. So first 2 clicks he draws, 3 clicks he draws, and last click takes a credit. So again, a res Sansan there, sitting pretty. Oh, and you know what's going to happen. So off the Brain Trust off the top deck. Absolutely what you want to see there. Couldn't have come at a better time. And suddenly I've gone from a completely unthreatening position to an incredibly dominant position. I now have a heck of a lot. So I'm now on 5 points, 6 points, sorry. 6 agenda points to 3 with a res Sansan, loads of money. Even if he trashes the Sansan, I've got 2 advancements on the Ice Wall and a Trick of Light in hand. So he runs R&D and scores a Claim Retirement, giving him an extra bad publicity to use, doing the net damage. Obviously, it would have been an incredibly nice card to see there top deck, because it would have won me the game. And he draws last click. Mandatory draw for me. All I need is the 1 agenda and I'm there, but I instead have install a Jackson Howard. First click, draw 2, second click, draw 2, third click. I'm going hunting. All I need to see is 1 agenda, and so I'm going to chuff and well find it. Because it's not exactly, you know, far apart. He's on 4 points. It could turn around in an absolute instant. And discard a whole bunch of cards that I don't need. So he's going to click for money. He's going to draw. He's going to run R&D. Using the bad pub, giving me 2. He's going to see nothing on top of R&D. He's going to click for money, at which point it's over because I drew the clone retirement and can score out of hand with or without the San. So again, it's amazing how quickly the deck can turn it around. I was worried there that I was going to get locked out of my servers, but a nicely placed archer at the key time got rid of his economy as well as his data sacker, and allowed me to fast advance my way to victory once more with the San rather than Trick of Light this time, and meant that again I was in a very strong position and looking in good shape for the win. So move on to the final round.